Are you dreaming of a totally unique romantic escape, honeymoon, or even destination wedding? Or maybe you're just looking to add a little adventure to your relationship. Let And Beyond turn those dreams into reality with luxury and sustainability. For over 30 years, And Beyond has been curating unforgettable experiences that leave the world a better place in destinations like Africa, Asia, South America, and even Antarctica. Whether it's a private safari in Botswana, stargazing from a treehouse in South Africa, or finding true peace at their stunning river lodge in Bhutan, And Beyond has got you covered. Their collection of lodges and camps offer unmatched privacy, untouched landscapes, and unparalleled romance. And here's the kicker. Honeymooners get 50% off one partner's And Beyond accommodation during their stay at selected luxurious properties in Africa, Asia, and South America. So whether you're celebrating a honeymoon, anniversary, or just want a wildly romantic getaway, And Beyond delivers romance with a positive, sustainable impact at every turn. Check out their lodges, camps, and itineraries at www.andbeyond.com. And when you're ready to book your ultimate romantic journey, reach out to me directly and we can get started. Thanks to And Beyond for supporting our Passport to Love series. Are you tired of the same old dating scene in your local area? Do dating apps leave you more frustrated than fulfilled? And what about those magical travel romances? Why do they seem to happen so effortlessly? What if I told you the secret to falling in love is off the apps and into the wide expanse of the world? This month, we're bringing you our Passport to Love series, an exciting collection of stories from around the globe where travelers found love in the most unexpected places. Stay tuned. Love and adventure awaits. Hi, I'm Kelly Tolliday, founder of Transform with Travel, and your trusted guide to life-changing adventures. Here, we help you dream big, plan smarter, and embark on your next journey without stress or overwhelm. This isn't just about booking trips. It's about reimagining what's possible for yourself, one adventure at a time. Today, we're bringing you one step closer to your greatest travel dreams. So buckle up because we are about to take off. Hello, Kelly here, and welcome to the show. If you are seeking a little inspiration to ignite your love life, this episode and this series is for you. Today marks the launch of our Passport to Love series, an exciting collection of stories from around the globe where travelers found love in the most unexpected places while they were exploring the world. Over the next 4 weeks, we're going to hear stories like falling in love with an Airbnb host in Denmark, or a life-changing run-in with a dive instructor on the Great Barrier Reef, and the world's longest coffee chat with a yachty in Croatia, and so much more. To stay up to date with the stories launching over the course of the month, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. I promise you don't want to miss these stories. And to make this series extra special, we have 2 episodes every week running Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month of February. So 8 episodes in total for this series. So again, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss these. This series was actually inspired by my own story of falling in love at first sight with my Australian husband while on a pub crawl in Dublin. So be sure to listen to episode 1 of the podcast for the whole story. I'll link it in the show notes as well. And thinking back to my own story, it got me wondering how many other stories there are like mine around the world. I reached out to my local network as well as the online community. And I was asking, if anyone had a personal story of falling in love while they were traveling. And it turns out a lot of you did. So each episode in this series will highlight one story of love that was founded with a shared passion of travel and adventure, and oftentimes shared hobbies, with the purpose of giving hope to those who are feeling a little bit discouraged with their current dating scene. For this first episode of the series, to kick it all off, I wanted to share some of the science behind why it is so easy and possible to fall in love while you travel. I mean, who needs Tinder when you have travel? Don't come at me, Tinder. And in a world where men and women alike are feeling discouraged or burnt out at the poor prospects within their boundary lines of the dating apps and what's available within the boundary lines of their dating apps, there's literally an entire world of people out there just waiting to be met. You might pass particular people by on a regular commute to work, but in a heightened state of travel, that person that you would just pass on by in your regular day-to-day life, they could actually catch your eye and a spark could be ignited. And then because of this, I started to wonder, why is the act of travel such a playground for love to develop? Why do we find ourselves having hours long chats with strangers when we're in a new country and not in our hometown? How can love at first sight happen more frequently when we're in Italy than when we're at home in Ohio? In today's episode, we're diving into how exploring the world can also open the door to love in ways you've never imagined. And we'll go deep into the science and research behind these very questions, as well as some top clips from previous podcast guests and experts. Ready for the research? Me too. Let's go. The connection between travel and falling in love is often attributed to a combination of psychological, physiological, and environmental factors that make people more open to new experiences and relationships while traveling. So, what are these factors? Number one is novelty and excitement. You would have heard me talk about this so many times on the podcast, and a lot of other guests that have been on the podcast have talked about the importance for our brain health and mental health for novelty and new exciting experiences. And psychologists have long found that novel and exciting experiences increase emotional arousal, which can strengthen the bond between people. Traveling often involves new places and cultures and foods and adventures, and this stimulates the brain's reward center. This arousal can be misattributed often to feelings of romantic connection, but this misattribution of romantic connection because of this arousal of the reward center in our brain and the emotional arousal that's happening, it actually may lead to long-term partnerships. So although psychologically it might be a misattribution of romantic connection because of this arousal of our emotions, just because that term misattribution might be there, it could actually help you develop that long-term partnership in the long run. And this research is backed by a classic study by Dutton and Aaron in 1974 that showed when people experience high levels of physical arousal, like crossing a shaky bridge or bungee jumping in New Zealand or rushing to catch a train in Europe, they are more likely to feel romantic attraction. Isn't that crazy? Like when you're doing something that's new and different and you're kind of arousing the different fear or adrenaline or that physical arousal, that you're more likely to feel a romantic attraction as well. So traveling brings similar heightened emotions from the excitement of exploration. Also, Susan Winograd from episode 48 of the podcast states that travel naturally brings you into these new environments. So there's a new context for who you can be and a new context for the relationships you're in with other people, or in this case, new relationships that you can start with new people that you meet while you're traveling. This new context allows for that deeper intimacy as well. So just listen to what she has to say.
We need to not only create those social interactions and that person to person interactions, but doing new, novel things, new experiences that you've never done before is not only so important for your mental health, it's important for your brain health. It is just so important in nervous system regulation. I would say even mood regulation. I would even go so far to say it's important for sexual health. It creates a new context, a new environment. Can we talk about sex on this podcast?
Absolutely. Let's
Okay,
do
so
it.
what do I always, when I'm teaching sexual wellness, I always say, why do you have better sex when you're on vacation? It's because your nervous system is calmer. Vacation helps to manage stress. It's a new context, it's a new environment, it's exciting. It sort of strips away all of those limiting beliefs and physical symptoms that you have in a familiar environment. And it is so therapeutic, I think, for every system in the body.
Reason number two why it might be easier to fall in love while you travel is because of these shared experiences. So we talked about new experiences and environments, but then there's this context of shared experiences. So when people travel together or meet while traveling, they often share unique, meaningful experiences. These shared experiences create lasting memories and emotional bonds that can accelerate emotional romantic feelings. Oftentimes, especially when you're in situations that are out in nature or a little bit of your survival instinct kicks in because you're camping or you're hiking or you're surfing, you're creating these bonds that last in your brain. Like the memory is more vivid within your brain. And the research behind this shows that it can accelerate romantic feelings. It has positives and negatives to this, of course. There are studies in relationship psychology that indicate that engaging in new or challenging activities together, whether it's a person that you've already known or someone that you meet while traveling, strengthens emotional intimacy between these people. And travel, as we know, provides ample opportunities for these experiences. Number 3 is the fact that you are in a growth mindset when you're traveling. You are a beginner. You are learning new things while you're traveling. So travel puts people in a mindset of learning, openness, and self-discovery. Being outside your comfort zone can increase your self-awareness and make people more open to connections, which enhances the likelihood of developing romantic feelings. It also allows you to step into, dare I say, a more authentic version of yourself, maybe even a more relaxed version of yourself. And you're not so worried about the identities that you have at home or the person that you're supposed to be when you're at home. And that's why a lot of people anecdotally claim they feel more free when they travel. They feel closer to who they are at their core when they travel. And when you feel free to be yourself, you attract people who find that version of you appealing. And perhaps you like that version of you when you're with this new person as well. The flip side of this is that when life hits, like when real life at home hits, it can be hard to reconcile the difference between the version of you while you were traveling and the version of you when you were at home, especially if you've started a new romantic relationship with somebody that you met while you were traveling. You can hear all about that in episode 1 of what that was like for me and my husband, Sam. But the research behind this is by Carol Dweck. It's her theory of the growth mindset, and it suggests that individuals in situations where they are learning and adapting are more open to new relationships and personal growth. And we know that long-lasting, meaningful relationships, both romantic and platonic, require your openness for personal growth and feedback from each other. Reason number 4 why travel is a playground for finding love is that travel creates a positive emotional context. Traveling is often associated with relaxation, excitement, and happiness, all emotions that can enhance feelings of attraction. In contrast, dating apps with their focus on quick judgments and focus on appearance, it can lead to frustration, especially when those interactions don't go well or you get ghosted way easier when you're on an app than when you're traveling. And this is backed by a 2024 study by Forbes Health that found that 79% of Gen Z app users feel burnt out from using dating apps. Think about it. This is a generation that grew up with social media, that grew up with technology in their back pocket. And they're saying they're done. They're saying they are burnt out from meeting people online. While the reverse of this is there's research back in 2010 that suggests that travel significantly boosts your mood and overall well-being, which can lead to a more positive outlook on life and a greater openness to romantic encounters. Number 5 is that you have a lowered stress from your routine life. You almost have a pause from this stress from your routine life. Of course, travel has its own level of stressors as well, but the day-to-day obligations that kind of keep you shelled up into this identity of who you're supposed to be and not having that much time to do the things that you love, you have a little bit of a pause from that. So being away from daily stressors like work and family responsibilities can make people more relaxed. It can make them more present. It can make them more themselves, make you, you. This stress reduction can improve your mood and it can make people more emotionally available, which obviously we know helps foster deeper romantic connections. According to studies on the emotional effects of vacation, back in 2010, again, same study, travelers report significant increases in happiness and a reduction in stress during the vacation itself, which can increase an openness to new experiences, including romance. Here's an excerpt from Emily Calvo, who's a mental health counselor here in South Florida, and she talks about why getting out of your daily routine adds to your emotional piggy bank. She's speaking from the context of your marriage, your current marriage, but this also just so relates to adding to your emotional piggy bank as an individual and how this helps you pour back into new relationships that you meet while on the road.
Your research as a couple, I like to tell my couples to think about this emotional piggy bank. Just picture in your mind a piggy bank, and with that emotional piggy bank, you add coins on a daily basis, right? Those moments of connections will add coins, and you also withdraw when you argue, when you fight, you're withdrawing. So That's unavoidable. You're going to fight. You're going to argue. That's part of being a healthy relationship. That's okay. But how many coins do you want to have to be able to withdraw and still be safe, and not be in debt with your relationship? A trip like that, a going away like that, will add coins to that emotional bank account.
Number 6 is increased face-to-face interaction and authenticity. So we all know that on the dating apps, you're swiping through, you're making split-second judgments on people, and you're not getting that face-to-face interaction of who that person is. How does their personality come out, and how does that personality make them either more or less attractive? When traveling, people are more likely to meet potential partners through in-person interactions. Obviously, we're out in the world, we're at the pub, we're on the tour, we're doing the things, right? And research shows these face-to-face interactions can lead to more authentic connections than online interactions. Body language, tone of voice, and spontaneous chemistry. These are all factors that can be stronger in face-to-face interactions over online interactions. And this is backed by a study back in 2019 by Oxford Internet Institute that found that relationships that start online were slightly less likely to lead to marriage compared to those formed in person. This suggests that in-person interactions, such as those that happen while traveling, may foster stronger or more sustainable connections. And lastly, number 7 is the fact that while you're traveling, you could be in inherently romanticized settings, or just in your own mind, you might be just romanticizing the environment that you're in either way, right? Wherever you are, whether it's Paris or whether you're walking the back alleys of Hanoi in Vietnam, you're romanticizing your experience because it's not your daily life. And so many popular traveler destinations are inherently romantic, like I said, whether it's a beach or a village or a historic city, or you're just creating this romantic allure within your own mind. It can prime you emotionally for romance. And there's a study back in 1987 that is an environmental psychology study that shows that aesthetic and beautiful or new surroundings, like those encountered while traveling, can positively influence your mood and your interpersonal attraction to those around you. So there you have it. Let's recap these 7 reasons why travel can open you up to finding love, falling in love, maintaining your current love, perhaps more so than a dating app or just staying within your own city limits, let's say. So number 1 is the fact that travel offers you novel experiences, which allows you to heighten your emotional and physical arousal so that you are open to new relationships. Number 2 is that shared experiences bind you together, whether it's you're binding together for life or you have just a really, really vivid memory of that person. Number 3, the fact that you're in a growth mindset while you're traveling. You are in a beginner's mindset. You're open to personal growth. Number 4 is positive emotional context. You're creating a positive emotional context, which will be increasing your openness to new relationships, to new experiences. Number 5 is the fact that you have lowered stress from your daily routines, which can then open you up to being more authentically you and attracting the person who is attracted to that authentic version of you. Number 6 is an increase in face-to-face interactions, which allows there to be more of a robust context of who that other person across from the coffee table is, right? Like we talked about, body language, tone of voice, everything that makes that person them comes through more from that face-to-face interaction. And number 7 is the fact that you are either in highly romanticized environments or you're just romanticizing the experience inherently because it's new and it's different and it's not your hometown. All of these factors contribute to the ease of falling in love while traveling. The hard part comes when you decide to pursue a cross-cultural or multi-passport relationship. There are some real and hard decisions you have to make when it comes to visas, long-distance relationships, and so much more. And you'll hear about all of this from the 6 guests who are coming up in the series who share their stories over the course of the next month. All of them come to the same conclusion that it is beyond worth it, but they do go through the high highs and the low lows of what it's like to find someone while they're traveling, but that they wouldn't trade it for the world. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast. You don't want to miss this flood of inspiration and love that is about to come your way. And stay tuned for the next episode, which highlights our first story in our Passport to Love series. And that's a wrap for today's episode. A huge thank you to our amazing sponsor, And Beyond, for supporting the Passport to Love series. If you're dreaming of a unique honeymoon, a romantic getaway, or even a destination wedding, And Beyond has been creating transformative experiences for over 30 years across Africa, Asia, South America, and beyond. Visit andbeyond.com for more information and stay tuned for the next episode in our Passport to Love series.